Have you ever made a choice because you were afraid and later wished you'd done things differently? How do you react when you see someone make a mistake, especially the same mistake more than once? Can you remember a time when you felt left out or pushed aside, even though you did nothing wrong? What would you do if you had to choose between keeping a promise to one person and showing kindness to another? Have you ever judged someone before knowing their whole story? How do you handle family fights, especially when someone feels jealous or threatened? Has anyone ever surprised you by showing you compassion when you didn't expect it? On one of your children's birthday, have you ever bought a present for another one of your children so they wouldn't feel left out? Imagine you have two children named Alex and Jamie. Alex's birthday will be coming up in a month or so. You have a family rule that on your birthday, you get to pick the place that everyone will go. Alex chooses Six Flags. Alex and Jamie have always wanted to go there. You promise Alex that you'll take them there for his birthday. It's a very special promise that means a lot to both of you. The younger brother, Jamie, also deserves love and care, but this particular promise is for Alex. One day, at the playground, Alex gets scared of a big, rough group of kids. Worried that they might get bullied, Alex tells everyone that Jamie is just a friend, not a brother, thinking it might help keep them safe. But this causes confusion. Another mom almost takes Jamie home thinking that he's not part of your family. Once you find out, you run over to the other mom and explain the truth, making sure that Jamie is safe and home with you. You're disappointed that Alex wasn't honest, but you understand that they were scared. You help them see why telling the truth is important, and you forgive them. Finally, Alex's birthday comes, and you keep your promise. You take them to Six Flags. Both you and Alex are filled with joy, and Alex can't stop laughing and smiling, just as you had hoped when you first made the promise. But at the theme park, Jamie feels left out and starts acting up, maybe grabbing Alex's snacks or making mean faces. Alex gets upset and wants Jamie to go home, saying, "He's ruining my special day." You have to make a hard choice. You know Alex needs this time, and it is his birthday. But Jamie also needs love and reassurance. So you find a way to comfort Jamie. Maybe you take him for a special treat and promise him his own fun day soon, while still honoring your promise to Alex. You reassure both children that you love them, even when things are complicated. Later, when you get back home, there's a disagreement at the park with another family about who gets to use the swings. You talk with the other parent, explain what happened, and find a fair solution so everyone can share and play peacefully. As a parent, you love all your children, even when they mess up, they get scared, or make bad choices. You feel protective, sometimes disappointed, but always loving. You understand your children's fears and mistakes. You keep your promises, even if it takes a long time and even when the situation gets messy. You help your children work through jealousy, mistakes, and feelings of being left out, showing compassion to everyone involved. You want your children to trust you, to be honest, and to know that your love is big enough for all of them. You step in to protect, correct, and guide, just like God does with Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, Isaac, and Ishmael. Genesis 20 through 21 is a story about promises, mistakes, forgiveness, and making sure everyone is taken care of, even when things get complicated. Very much like being a parent today. It tells the story of Abraham, his wife Sarah, and King Abimelech of Gerar. Abraham and Sarah are traveling, and when they arrive in Gerar, Abraham tells people that Sarah is his sister, not his wife. He does this because he's afraid that if people know Sarah is his wife, they might kill him to take her, since she's very beautiful. King Abimelech hears that Sarah is Abraham's sister, and thinking she's unmarried, brings her into his palace. However, before anything serious happens, God appears to Abimelech in a dream and tells him that Sarah is actually Abraham's wife, and that if he touches her, he will be punished because he would be committing a great sin. He is shocked and tells God that he was innocent. He didn't know Sarah was married because Abraham lied. God acknowledges his innocence, but tells him to return Sarah to Abraham, and that Abraham will pray for him so that he and his household will not be punished. The next morning, he confronts Abraham and asks why he lied. Abraham admits that he was afraid for his life, thinking that there was no respect for God in Gerar and that he might be killed because of Sarah. He also reveals that technically, Sarah is his half-sister. They had the same father but different mothers, which is why he could say she was a sister. Still, Abraham admits that he asked Sarah to go along with his plan whenever they traveled somewhere new. Abimelech then gives Sarah back to Abraham, along with gifts of sheep, cattle, servants, and offers them land to live on. He wants to make it clear to everyone that Sarah is innocent and that nothing improper happened. Abraham prays for Abimelech, and God heals Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants, so they can have children again. God had kept them from having children because of the situation with Sarah. This story teaches several important lessons. First, it shows the consequences of not being completely honest, even when you're afraid. Abraham's fear leads him to lie, which puts Sarah and others in a difficult position. Second, it shows that God cares about justice and innocence. God protects both Sarah and Abimelech from harm and makes sure that everyone knows the truth. Third, it shows that even people who believe in God, like Abraham, can make mistakes, but God is still willing to help and forgive them. The story reminds us that honesty is important, even when we're scared. It shows that God can work through difficult situations to protect people and set things right. Finally, it's a story about taking responsibility for your actions and making amends, which is something everyone can relate to, no matter their age. After the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham moves to the territory of Gerar, ruled by King Abimelech. Genesis 20. And Abram journeyed from there toward the land of Negev, and settled between Kadesh and Shur. Then he sojourned into Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream of the night and said to him, "Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman who you have taken, for she is married." Now Abimelech had not come near her. Then he said, "Lord, will you kill a nation, even though righteous? Did he not himself say to me, 'She is my sister'?" And she said herself also, "He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands, I have done this." Then God said to him in the dream, "Indeed, I know that in the integrity of your heart you have done this, and I also held you back from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. So now, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." So Abimelech arose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their hearing. And the men were greatly afraid. Then he called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? And how have I sinned against you that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me things that ought not to have been done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What have you seen that you have done this thing?" And Abraham said, "Because I said, surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she actually is my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it happened when God caused me to wander from my father's house that I said to her, 'This is the loving kindness which you will show me. Everywhere we go, say of me, he is my brother.' Abimelech then took sheep and oxen and male and female slaves and gave them to Abraham, and returned his wife Sarah to him. And Abimelech said, 'Behold, my land is before you. Settle wherever it is good in your sight.' To Sarah he said, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, it is your vindication before all who are with you, and before all you are cleared.' And Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maidservants, so that they bore children. For the Lord had utterly shut all the wombs of the household of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. When facing a difficult situation, be as honest and direct as possible. Avoiding the truth or using deception often leads to more complicated problems. If you're confused or something feels wrong, talk openly with the people involved. Clear, respectful communication can resolve issues before they grow bigger. If you make a mistake, admit it, apologize, and find ways to fix the problem. Taking responsibility earns respect and helps heal relationships. When you're unsure how to handle a problem, seek advice from a trusted friend or someone with more experience. Don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's spiritual, practical, or emotional. When solving problems, try to act fairly and kindly toward everyone involved. Even when someone has made a mistake, treating them with respect can lead to better outcomes. If a solution you tried didn't work or caused new problems, reflect on it. Use the lesson to make better choices next time. Before making a big decision, take time to think, pray, or reflect. This can help you see the situation more clearly and avoid acting out of fear or impulse. Genesis 20 teaches that honesty, open communication, responsibility, seeking guidance, integrity, learning from mistakes, and thoughtful reflection are all important problem-solving techniques you can use in your own life. Genesis 21 is a chapter full of emotion, hope, and important life lessons. It continues the story of Abraham and Sarah, who have waited for decades for the child God promised them. After years of disappointment and doubt, Sarah finally gives birth to a son, Isaac, when she's 90 years old and Abraham is 100. This moment is full of joy and laughter, so much so that they named their son Isaac, which actually means he laughs. Sarah says, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." This laughter is not just about happiness. It's about the relief, the surprise, and even disbelief that something so wonderful could happen after so long. But the joy is mixed with sadness and tension. Years before, Abraham and Sarah had tried to solve their problem themselves. Sarah, thinking she'd never have children, gave her servant Hagar to Abraham, and Hagar gave birth to a son, Ishmael. Now, with Isaac born, Sarah becomes protective of him and sees Ishmael as a threat. During a celebration for Isaac, Sarah sees Ishmael playing and demands that Abraham send Hagar and Ishmael away. She doesn't want Ishmael to share in Isaac's inheritance. This is a painful, complicated situation. Abraham cares deeply for Ishmael. After all, he is his son too. But God reassures Abraham that Isaac is the promised son and tells him that Ishmael will also become the father of a great nation. With a heavy heart, Abraham sends Hagar and Ishmael away into the desert, giving them some bread and water. When the water runs out, Hagar, overwhelmed by despair, puts Ishmael under a bush and sits nearby, unable to watch her son die. She weeps and Ishmael cries out. In one of the most compassionate moments in the Bible, God hears Ishmael's cry. An angel calls to Hagar, telling her not to be afraid. God opens her eyes, and she sees a well of water, saving their lives. God promises Hagar that Ishmael will also become a great nation. Hagar and Ishmael survive, and Ishmael grows up in the desert, becoming strong and independent. Genesis 21 is about promises kept and the pain that sometimes comes even when good things happen. Waiting for something you desperately want, like Abraham and Sarah did, can feel endless and hopeless. But their story shows that hope and patience can be rewarded in unexpected ways. The complicated feelings between Sarah, Hagar, Abraham, and their sons show that families aren't always perfect and that jealousy, fear, and favoritism can lead to hard choices. But through it all, God cares for everyone involved, even the ones who seem left out or forgotten. It is a story about hope, faith, and the reality that life is sometimes messy and emotions are complicated. It's about trusting that even in heartbreak or when you feel rejected like Hagar and Ishmael, you're seen, loved, and your story still matters. Now that the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had promised, so Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son, who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, laughing in jest. Therefore she said to Abraham, drive out this maidservant and her son. The son of this maidservant shall not be an heir with my son, with Isaac. And the matter distressed Abraham greatly because his son. So God said to Abraham, do not be distressed because of the boy and your maidservant. Whatever Sarah tells you, listen to her voice, for through Isaac your seed shall be named. And of the son of the maidservant, I will make a nation also, because he is your seed. So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar, putting them on her shoulder, and gave her the child and sent her away. So she went and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was finished, she put the child under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, about a bowshot away, for she said, do not let me see when the child dies. And she sat opposite him and lifted up her voice and wept. Then God heard the voice of the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Arise, lift up the boy, and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew, and he lived in the wilderness and was an archer. And he lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Now it happened at the time that Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. So now swear to me, where by God, that you will not deal falsely with me, or with my offspring, or with my posterity, but according to the loving kindness that I have shown you. You shall show me and the land in which you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I swear it. But Abraham reproved Abimelech about the well of water which the servants of Abimelech had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, nor did I hear of it until today. Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them cut a covenant. Then Abraham set seven ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And he said to Abraham, What do these 7 ewe lambs mean, which you have set by themselves? He said, You shall take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, so that it may be a witness to me that I dug this well. Therefore he called that place Beersheba, because there the two of them swore an oath. So they cut a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, arose and returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba, and there he called upon the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the land of the Philistines for many days. Sometimes solutions to problems take time. Practice patience and don't give up hope too quickly. Trust that with perseverance and faith, answers can come, even if it's not on your preferred timeline. Some problems require tough choices. Avoiding them can make things worse. Face difficult decisions head on and weigh your options carefully, even if it means accepting painful consequences. When you're stuck, seek advice from someone wise or trustworthy, a parent, a friend, or a spiritual leader. Sometimes a fresh perspective or guidance can help you make the right decision. When solving problems that affect others, consider everyone's feelings and needs. Try to be fair and compassionate, not just to those closest to you, but everyone involved. Don't give up even when things seem hopeless. Take a step back, breathe, and look around. You might find an answer or opportunity you hadn't noticed before. When you overcome a problem or reach a goal, take time to celebrate your progress. Recognizing achievements, even small ones, boosts morale and helps you appreciate how far you've come. Sometimes you can do everything right, but the outcome is still uncertain. Accept what you can't control and focus your energy on what you can influence. Genesis 21 teaches patience, facing tough choices, seeking guidance, showing empathy, looking for hope, even despair, celebrating progress, and accepting what's beyond your control. These are all essential techniques for solving problems in your own life. These chapters illustrate God's unwavering faithfulness, the challenges of living out faith in a complicated world, and His care for all His people, even those outside the main line of promise. Before judging others, ask yourself these questions. Do I know the whole story? Have I ever made a similar mistake? How would I feel in their situation? Is there a bigger plan or promise I don't see? Am I showing compassion or just criticism? Do I need to talk directly to the person like God did with Abimelech and Hagar? How can I encourage reconciliation and peace? Genesis 20 through 21 teaches us that before judging others, we should seek understanding, remember our own faults, show empathy, and consider the bigger picture. Compassion and humility are often better guides than criticism. I'm Merrill, and this is Battlegram. Please like, subscribe, and share if you've received any value from today's episode.